Welcome. Please rise in body or spirit as you are able and join in the singing of hymn number 361, Enter, Rejoice, and Come In. Good morning. Welcome to the Unitarian Universalists of Sarasota. I'm Scott Rubin, a member of the Worship and Music Committee. We coordinate services when our minister is out of the pulpit. I'll be your worship leader today, for better or worse. For those of you who may not know me yet, I am not now, nor have I ever been, a minister, priest, rabbi, imam, or other type of religious professional. But I have been a UU for about 35 years, and not surprisingly, I have a few things on my mind. We especially want to welcome our visitors, both here on campus and over live stream. We invite our visitors to participate in any of our events. We welcome you to find out more about us and Unitarian Universalism by registering on our virtual guest book, which you can find via a link on the homepage of our website, uusrq.org, because who doesn't love a good airport code, right? If you are here in person, please visit our welcome table after the service if you didn't stop on your way in. And if you sign up here or online, we will send you our weekly newsletter and Zoom links to our virtual events. We invite everyone to join us for coffee, cookie, and conversation after the service. We look forward to getting to know you. We have two special announcements this morning. First, if you are interested in becoming a member of UUs of Sarasota, representatives from the membership team and the Board of Trustees will be in the minister's office in the Lexau wing, that's right behind us, after the service. And second, next Sunday is the second Sunday of the month, so we'll be having our second Sunday potluck lunch after the service. Please bring some food to share so we can all sit down together, eat a delicious lunch, meet some new friends, and have a great time. Our opening words this morning are adapted from the writings of Israel Zangwill. Come into the circle of love and justice. Come into the community of mercy, holiness, and health. Come, and you shall know peace and joy. For our chalice lighting this morning, it's in two parts. The Reverend Judith Quarles wrote, "Let us remember that we are part of a great community of faith. May this dancing flame inspire us to fill our lives with the Unitarian Universalist ideals of love, justice, and truth." And as we light the chalice, please join with me as we read our value of pluralism, which is printed in your order of service and displayed on the screen. We are all sacred beings, diverse in culture, experience, and theology. Now, the story Catherine is reading this morning is one of my all-time favorites. One of the many reasons I love this story is because of what doesn't happen in the story. As you'll see, Frederick is different, but no one makes fun of him or tries to get him to change. Instead, they nurture and celebrate his gifts, recognizing the importance of his special talents to the whole community.
Good morning, everyone. So as you already know, Frederick is the story we are going to read, and it was written and illustrated by Leo Leone. All along the meadows where the cows grazed and the horses ran, there was an old stone wall. And in that wall, not far from the barn and the granary, a chatty family of field mice had their home. But the farmers had moved away, and the barn was abandoned, and the granary stood empty. And since winter was not far off, the little mice began to gather corn and nuts and wheat and straw. They all worked day and night, all except Frederick. "Frederick, why don't you work?" they asked. "I do work," said Frederick. "I gather sun rays for the cold, dark winter days." And when they saw Frederick sitting there staring at the meadow, they said, "And now, Frederick?" "I gather colors," answered Frederick simply, "for the winter is gray." And once Frederick seemed half asleep. "Are you dreaming, Frederick?" they asked reproachfully. But Frederick said, "Oh no, I am gathering words, for the winter days are long and many, and we'll run out of things to say." So the winter days came, and when the first snow fell, the 5 little field mice took to their hideout in the stones. And in the beginning, there was lots to eat, and the mice told stories of foolish foxes and silly cats. They were a happy family. But little by little, they had nibbled up most of the nuts and the berries. The straw was gone, and the corn was only a memory. It was cold in the wall, and no one felt like chatting. Then they remembered what Frederick had said about sun rays and colors and words. "What about your supplies, Frederick?" they asked. "Close your eyes," said Frederick as he climbed up on a big stone. "Now I send you the rays of the sun. Do you feel how their golden glow?" And as Frederick spoke of the sun, the 4 little mice began to feel warmer. Was it Frederick's voice? Was it magic? "And how about the colors, Frederick?" they asked anxiously. "Close your eyes again," Frederick said. And when he told them of the blue periwinkles, the red poppies and the yellow wheat, and the green leaves of the berry bush, they saw the colors as clearly as if they had painted it in their own minds. "And the words, Frederick?" Frederick cleared his throat, waited a moment, and then, as if from a stage, he said, "Who scatters the snowflakes? Who melts the ice? Who spoils the weather? Who makes it nice? Who grows the 4-leaf clovers in June? Who dims the daylight? Who lights the moon? 4 little field mice who live in the sky. 4 little field mice like you and I. One is the spring mouse who turns on the showers. Then comes the summer who paints the flowers. The fall mouse is next with walnuts and wheat, and winter is last with little cold feet. Aren't we lucky the seasons are 4? Think of a year with 1 less or 1 more. And when Frederick had finished, they all applauded. But Frederick, they said, you are a poet. And Frederick blushed, took a bow, and said shyly, I know it. So now I would like to invite any children and youth who are here today to join me in the kitchen as we start our month of kindness with hospitality and baking cookies for our treats later. Thank you.
Good morning, folks. How are you? Going to do a song by John Denver for you this morning, and it's common knowledge that entertainers like John Denver had problems with marriages, being away from home so much, and I can identify with that. I was home so little, even the dog was biting me when I got home. But please sing along. Are you getting it? You should be. Should be. Sorry, folks, we got a little... kind of tell a joke there. Tell a joke to each other while we're... I also want to dedicate this to 2 longtime friends, Bill Delgarno and Wilda. Always good to see you guys. Okay. Yeah. I'll tell you what, I'll just do it anyway. You can probably hear the guitar. You fill up my senses like a night in the forest, like a mountain in springtime, like a walk in the rain, like a storm in the desert, like a sleepy blue ocean. You filled up my senses, come fill me again. Come let me love you, let me give my life to you. Let me drown in your laughter, let me die in your arms. Let me lay down beside you, let me always be with you. Come let me love you, come love me again. Join with me, folks. You fill up my senses like a night in the forest, like a mountain in springtime, like a walk in the rain, like a storm in the desert, like a sleepy blue ocean. You fill up my senses, come fill me again.
Thank you, Paul. Please remain seated for the singing of Spirit of Life, hymn number 123. I apologize for not introducing Christine and Joe Bruno earlier. Thank you so much for being here today. The words for our offering were written by the Reverend Heather Christensen. Unitarian Universalism is a grand vision of a world filled with peace and justice, love and joy. Each one of us, by our commitment of time, energy, money, and other resources, help makes that grand vision real. As we receive our offering, please be as generous as you can. For those online or for those here with a cell phone, there is a link to donate in the description of the YouTube video, or you can use the QR code in your order of service or on the screen. Let this sacred time begin. Joe, I know it's not a polite question to a lady, but could you tell us how old you are?
98.
And welcome to Sarasota. Yeah. All right. I'm going to start with another story. This is going to be a morning of stories, I think. There's an interfaith conference out at a rural conference center, and two nuns are on their way to the conference. All of a sudden, the car sputters. You think you've heard this story, but you haven't. And the car runs out of gas. So they pull off to the side of the road, and they see a farmhouse off in the distance. And the field's a little bit muddy, so they hike up their skirts a little, and they go through the field to the farmhouse, talk to the farmer, and he says, "I'm sorry, sisters, all our vehicles here use diesel fuel. I don't have gasoline except for what's in the family car, but all our gas cans have diesel in them. If you can root around the barn and find something to put it in, I can siphon some gas out of the family car, and we'll get you on your way." So the nuns root around in the barn, and they find an old bedpan. That's all they can find. Now, the farmer says, "Well, that'll work." So he siphons some gas out of the car into the bedpan, and the two nuns walk back through the field. As they get near the end, they take their skirts back down, and they help smooth them out. Meanwhile, while this is going on, a rabbi going to the same conference has pulled up behind the car that stopped to see if he can help. And he sees two nuns walking out of the field, carrying a bedpan, straightening out their skirts, and then they pour from the bedpan into their gas tank. The rabbi gets out of his car and he says, "Sisters, there's a lot we don't agree about when it comes to theology, but oi, do I admire your faith." I admire your faith. What is it about Unitarian Universalism and the lives we lead as UUs that might prompt someone to say, "I admire your faith"? I like to think of Frederick the Mouse and his friends as a metaphor for UUism. Each of us brings our own talents, beliefs, strengths, and weaknesses, but we're in this together, and we celebrate and cherish that diversity. We are each stronger, wiser, more able to weather the difficult times because we have each other. When someone asks me about UUism and what we believe, my capsule summary, my elevator speech, if you will, is that we believe that every religion, every faith tradition has something to teach us. We learn love from Jesus, justice from Moses, wisdom from Muhammad, introspection from Buddha, respect for all life from native cultures, a love of diversity from humanism, and so much more. It makes for a crowded elevator, but isn't that wonderful? Now, some of you may have noticed that I'm calling this little talk a sermon. Traditionally, a sermon involves preaching from a sacred text, finding a modern message in an ancient passage. As a UU preacher for a day, you have given me an opportunity to preach from a wide variety of sacred sources of inspiration. So let me tell you one more story. And this one is almost true. And by that I mean I'm looking back more than 50 years, so the memories are real, but I don't know if all the details are completely accurate, though it seems about right. I grew up in a moderately religious Jewish family. By the time I was in high school, I was pretty sure there were things about Judaism that I didn't really believe. But that wasn't unusual. There are all flavors of Jews. There are fundamentalist Jews who believe that every word of the Torah, the 5 books of Moses, each and every one of the 613 laws and commandments contained in those 5 books, is the word of God given to his chosen people, and we are to try to live our lives by those rules. And there are New Age Jews who believe that our forebears gave us important moral underpinnings, but the Bible stories and those old laws and commandments have to be read in historical context if we read them at all, and most of them just don't apply today. And there are multiple types of Jews in between, what I like to think of as 50 shades of Jews. So I figured I was just spinning the color wheel of Judaism, and I'd find the right shade for me. Little did I know that my search would lead me to a completely different color palette. That's a story for another day. One thing I learned from Judaism, and that has stayed a part of my faith to this day after 35 years as a UU, is an appreciation for the biblical prophets. The Torah, some believe, is the word of the Creator dictated to Moses on Mount Sinai. There are stories, rules, history, and some mind-numbing details like the results of the census. The prophets made the words accessible and meaningful to the people. If you'll let me torture an analogy or two, the prophets were the tabloid journalists, the headline writers, the social media influencers of their time. They were Judaism's PR people, turning hundreds of pages of history and laws into sound bites and stories that would resonate with the people. They took the sacred word and turned it into language the people could understand. Moses gave us the holy laws, but the prophets helped make those laws understandable and turn those laws into action. Have you seen the movie A Knight's Tale? You don't have to acknowledge it. It's one of those movies. But I freely admit to liking that movie. I especially like the character of Geoffrey Chaucer, who is just an outrageous promoter for his knight wannabe. And oh, does he have a way with words. In my sometimes twisted mind, that's what I think the prophets were like. Telling the people stories using every trick in the book: fear, murder, intrigue, retribution, love, jealousy, whatever it took to keep people's attention until the moral was delivered. Now here's an example. The Torah suggests peace in the abstract. Like in Numbers, when God tells the priest to use a blessing over the people that ends with the Lord lift up his countenance upon you and give you peace. People heard that prayer every week. Many Jews still hear it to this day. But what does it mean to be given God's peace? Well, along comes Isaiah to tell us what the Creator's peace will look like. When that peace comes, you will beat your swords into plowshares and your spears into pruning hooks, and you won't even study war anymore. Now, for a people who were constantly under attack, that's a pretty radical and very understandable vision of God's peace. Okay, what's this have to do with me in high school, you ask? Well, by the time I was in high school, I was pretty sure I wanted to be a lawyer. I'm not sure why, it just fit. I had a strong sense of right and wrong, loved to read and do research, then take that information, synthesize it into a few key points, debate anyone about anything. You did not want to know me in high school. And on a good day, win people over to my side. I think it was 10th grade, and there was a speech contest for our synagogue's youth group. The winner would get to go to the youth group's regional convention and compete against other congregations' winners. I was new to the group and hadn't been to a regional convention before, so I figured, why not? The theme of the contest was something like justice, morality, and Judaism. I'm not sure about the title, and I have no idea what I spoke about. But among the suggested readings was the book of Micah. I think that was the first time I read Micah. And looking back with the benefit of 20/20 hindsight, it may have changed my faith and the trajectory of my life. Micah is a really short book, just 7 chapters, less than 10 pages in most translations. But oh, the power of those few words. Micah did great soundbite. We know his most famous quote, "What does the Lord require of you but to do justice and to love kindness and to walk humbly with your God?" But let's put that in some context. Micah was taking on the false prophets, orators, rabble-rousers, lawyers, politicians who were trying to use their quest for wealth and power and their skills at manipulating language to lead the people astray. In just those few pages, Micah took down the false prophets and reminded people what the Creator taught them, what it means to be a person of and with the Almighty. I won't read you too much, but how's this for a warning about false prophets? "Hear this, you rulers who abhor justice and pervert all equity, who build Zion with blood and Jerusalem with wrong. Because of you, Zion shall be plowed as a field, and Jerusalem shall become a heap of ruins." Well, after that, after scaring the wits out of the people, he told them to atone for their sins, but not in the usual way by bringing offerings to the altar. No, Micah told them, it's not that easy. The Creator, he says, has told you what to do. That's when he lays it on them. What does the Lord require of you but to do justice, love kindness, and to walk humbly with your God? Those words have stayed with me and are a part of my faith at the very core of what I believe as a Unitarian Universalist.
Okay, folks, going to do another John Denver song for you, and this one, everybody knows this song. But if you get the urge to sing along, please don't bother, because I do it better by myself. I'm just joking, I'm kidding. Country roads, take me home to the place I belong. West Virginia, mountain mama, take me home. Country roads. I gotta ask, like I always do when I do this song, is there anybody out there from West Virginia? Not a one. Okay. All right. I'll tell you what we're gonna do now. We're gonna change it to Sarasota. We'll do, all right? Almost heaven, Sarasota, Blue Ridge Mountains, no mountains, not even a hill, Shenandoah River. Life is older than the trees, younger than the mountain, blowing like a breeze. Country roads, take me home to the place I belong. Sarasota, mountain mama, take me home. Country roads. All my memories gather round me. Manners lady, stranger to blue water. Dark and dusty, painted on the sky. Misty taste and moonshine, teardrops in my eye. Country roads, take me home to the place I belong. Sarasota, mountain mama, take me home. Country roads. I hear a voice in the morning, now she calls me. The radio reminds me of my home far away. But driving down the road, I get the feeling that I should have been home yesterday. Yesterday, when I hear you guys sing it, country roads. Beautiful. Sarasota, mountain mama, take me home. Country roads, one more time. Country roads, take me home to the place I belong. Sarasota, Mount Long, take me home. Country roads, take me home. Country roads.
Thank you so much for that, Paul. Just beautiful and made us smile at the same time. Do justice, love kindness, walk humbly with your God. To me, way back then, and to me now, those were words filled with awe, words to try to live by. As a teenager, doing justice seemed pretty easy. Follow the rules, enforce the rules. The law is the law. No problem for a kid who wanted to be a lawyer. As I grew older, I realized how complex justice can be and how there can be an important difference between what the law says and what's just. But how do you temper that with mercy or kindness? And not just as an afterthought, but to actually love kindness. We are to do justice, but we are to love kindness. In Hebrew, the phrase is ahavat chesed. Many rabbis and other preachers will focus on that word chesed. Does it mean mercy or kindness? What are the nuances? They can go on and on and on and on some more. But to me, that misses the heart of the phrase, the word ahavat, one of the Hebrew words for love. It is the same word used for romantic love, love of family, and even sexual desire. So Micah isn't telling us to try to be kind. He's telling us we must internalize a deep-seated love for kindness, to hold it as dear as we hold our spouse and family, to make it as much a part of who we are as the deepest love we feel for anyone. Don't just be kind, but make love of kindness an inseparable part of you. Now that's a lot tougher, and one I'm still trying to figure out and maybe someday live up to. But then, oh boy, then comes the punchline. Walk humbly with your God. Humility. The Hebrew word is sinaya, literally to make yourself lowly, to flatten yourself. Walk with the holy, stay on the right path, try to cast yourself in the Creator's image, and then do it with humility. Make yourself lowly. It's not about you. Okay? Don't be all in your face about it with others. Oh, look at me walking with God. Right? No. Or look at me, God, I'm walking with you. No. Walk humbly with God. Do it because it's right. But no one needs to know what you're doing or why. You're still human, mortal, flawed, fallible, very far from perfect. In other words, do justice tempered with your innate kindness. And don't boast about it. Let your actions speak for you. Now that's a prophet. He did great soundbite. Do you remember in the 1990s? Some of you were too young. Some of you just can't remember anything. But trust me on this, back in the 1990s, Gatorade had a deal with Michael Jordan and the slogan, "Be like Mike." If I'd been in high school then, I might have donned a t-shirt that said, "Be like Micah." Well, okay, I hear you say. Good for that kid you were 50-some years ago. Why are you telling us this story today? I'm glad you asked that question. Where are we today? Look around this country, our politics, our government, or what's left of it. And who am I? I'm the guy who loves politics, but dislikes many politicians. I'm appalled at the way the art of politics is practiced today. I spent nearly my whole career working in or around government, but I don't recognize what passes for governing today, either in Tallahassee or in Washington. You're looking at the kid who used to sit up on election night with my homemade list of every state, the number of electoral votes they had, and the call made by Huntley and Brinkley or Cronkite. This was in elementary school. No joke. This I do remember clearly. And I kept doing it until just a few years ago when Nate Silver made it so easy for us to track online. I love politics, and I value and respect good government. But I am sick of most of the current crop of what passes for politicians. Sycophants and sociopaths, self-proclaimed leaders, and holier-than-thou preachers, billionaires and blowhards, all of whom push people aside rather than give them a hand up. These are not leaders our children can aspire to be. When politicians from both parties pander to the polls and the PACs, I want to shout, stop. What do you actually believe? How will you help us be better for each other, which, after all, is supposed to be the purpose of government, to protect us, educate us, create a level playing field on which we play this game we call life? How will you help us become more just and kind? Be like Micah. When politicians from both parties are unwilling to open the doors of this country to immigrants and refugees who are trying to better their lives and protect their families, to do for the next generation what leaders at the start of the last century did for my grandparents, I must ask, where is your innate mercy, the love of kindness? Be like Micah. When politicians from both sides of the aisle speak of education reform as taking books and teachers out of the public schools, diverting resources from children who have the least support at home, teaching to the test instead of teaching for the child, I must ask, is this how you do justice? Where is the kindness, the love? Be like Micah. Welfare reformers, Democrats and Republicans alike, have concocted a system that provides little food, no money, no child care, no sanitation, and no hope for millions of people in this country. Is this how you walk with God? Is this your definition of justice and kindness? Be like Micah. I could go on and on. I am appalled by the politicians who think justice means favoring those with the money and power, who think kindness and mercy are abstractions that have nothing to do with their lives, who pay more attention to a dollar someone dropped on the ground than they do to the homeless woman huddled in a doorway, and who wear their God on their sleeve, not humbly practicing what the prophets preached, but practicing their preaching so they can rise to a pulpit that is higher and louder and more lucrative. Be like Micah. Finally, and yes, to quote a false prophet, the end is near. We must remember that our leaders speak for us. We get the government we deserve. We elected these people. We made them famous. We continue to fan the fires of their fame. Every post on Facebook or Instagram, every bumper sticker and button and hat and flag, all of it keeps our real needs from being addressed. What do we say we want? A world that is imbued with justice and tempered by kindness. A country in which even those who are most in the public eye acknowledge that they are but humble servants. A state in which our prisons treat people with dignity. A community in which our schools focus on the needs of each child. A coastal paradise in which every child is fed, clothed, respected, and loved. We cannot hope to achieve these if we do not hold our leaders and ourselves to these same goals. If we do not ask them and ask ourselves to be a little more like Micah each day. This is part of my faith as a Unitarian Universalist. Whether anyone will admire that faith is not for me to say, and frankly, doesn't matter. What matters is how we put our faith into action. A statement of faith does not automatically tell us how to act on it. As the philosopher John Dewey cautions us, justice and kindness will look different on each of us. He wrote, and I'll quote, "How to live justly is a matter which differs with every person. It varies with past experience, opportunities, weaknesses, and abilities." End quote. In other words, turning those ideals into action will take a different form for you than it will for me. We must be careful not to judge each other as we try to love kindness and pursue justice. That's also part of the humility Micah teaches us. Let's take a moment in silence to consider our own personal journeys, talents, and resources. Silently ask yourself, please, how can I enhance my community through acts of justice and kindness? I'll close with this reminder and call to action from the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King, Jr. Take the first step in faith. You don't have to see the whole staircase. Just take the first step. And now for the final time this morning, I'm happy to ask Paul to give us his rendition of Streets of London.
All right, folks, this is a song by a great songwriter by the name of Ralph McTell, obviously originally from Poland, but it's a great song to listen to. The lyrics are very poignant, and it's a great song to listen to when you think that, you know, things are not going your way or the world owes you a favor, something like that. Have you seen the old man who walks the streets of London, picking up papers in his worn-out shoes? In his eyes you see no pride, his hands hang loosely by his side. Yesterday's papers telling yesterday's news. So how can you tell me you're lonely and say for you the sun don't shine? Let me take you by the hand and lead you through the streets of London. I'll show you something that'll make you change your mind. Now, have you seen the old girl who walks the streets of London? Dirt in her hair and her clothes all in rags. She's no time for talking, She just keeps right on walking, carrying her home in her 2 carrier bags. So how can you tell me you're lonely and say for you the sun don't shine? Let me take you by the hand and lead you through the streets of London. I'll show you something that'll make you change your mind. Now, have you seen the old man outside the seaman's mission? His memory's fading with the metal ribbons that he wears. And in our winter city, rain falls, oh what a pity. One more forgotten hero in a world that doesn't care. So how can you tell me you're lonely and say for you the sun don't shine? Let me take you by the hand and lead you through the streets of London. I'll show you something that'll make you change your mind. And how can you tell me you're lonely and say for you the sun don't shine? Let me take you by the hand and lead you through the streets of London. I'll show you something that'll make you change your mind. And I will show you something that'll make you change your mind.
Please rise in body or spirit as you are able for our closing hymn, We Are a Gentle, Angry People. Our closing words were written by the Reverend Dr. Philip Randall Giles. May the quality of our lives be our benediction and a blessing to all those we touch. Now, please join me in reading the words for extinguishing the chalice. These are not the words we usually use. These were written by the Reverend Matty Cephantis. We extinguish this flame,
but we keep its light in our hearts with its message of love and justice, bringing it outside these walls to the world we live in until we are together again.
Thank you for worshiping with us this morning. Please come again next Sunday to be in community with us. Thank you.